Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Hi, everyone. Just to make sure the chat's working for everyone, feel free to drop in where you're calling in from or located. Maria and I are located and calling in from San Francisco. So feel free to drop in the chat where you're located. We always like to hear that. New York, awesome. All right, well, we'll wait just a little bit longer. Ooh, Utah, nice. Las Vegas, awesome. Just while people are filing in, I'm just gonna kick off introductions here and then pass it over to Maria and Meg to introduce themselves. But to start, my name's Allison. I'm with the customer success team here at Scribe. Super excited to show you a little bit more in depth about editing today, but I'll pass it over to Maria.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria, also with the customer success team, and like Allison said, located in San Francisco. Super excited to go over some editing features today.
Awesome. And then we also have Meg on the call here, if she wants to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm Meg, also on customer success, and I'm based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. So excited to meet you all virtually.
Awesome. Well, just before we get started, feel free at any point to drop any questions you have in the chat. Additionally, we have that Q&A little bubble at the bottom, so feel free to put them either or. Meg will be helping assist with those questions, so seriously, don't hesitate to reach out about anything maybe that's confusing or unclear, and we're happy to give you a little bit more detail. But I'll go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Just to kick it off, welcome. So you might know that we do have two different types of webinars. We've just recently launched this Scribe Spotlight, so this is our first one. Some of you might have joined the Scribe 101. I would say the main difference between the two is Scribe 101's comprehensive, in-depth, all about Scribe all of the core functionality, and Scribe Spotlight is a little bit more focused and shorter on a specific subject. So today we're going to go into editing and a deep dive on all the editing functionality. But Maria should launch a poll just to showcase, maybe gauge a little bit about you guys and your interest with editing. So feel free to fill that out just so we can kind of gauge what you guys are interested in learning more about. So feel free to select that. Editing during capture, merging collaboration. Okay, a little bit of everything. So that's super exciting. Perfect. Great. Nice. Lots of editing during capture. Wonderful. Well, I'll go ahead and end that. Thanks for filling that out. But just to quickly go over the agenda today, we're going to start off by discussing why editing really matters, and then we'll transition into a demo alongside showing you guys how to edit a scribe in all the different ways. And then we'll talk a little bit about best practices and some use cases. And then at the end, we'll leave some time for Q&A and some additional resources and some time for you guys to actually try it out yourselves. So I'm sure we all have probably a baseline knowledge of Scribe and the usage. However, I always like to show the slide and just show you what we really do as a company. So our main goal is to automatically document and scale how your team's work gets done. I feel oftentimes everyone knows us as the company who's going to help you document faster. While that's very true, we also excel at a couple of other things, such as helping your team members find those answers more easily, and then additionally ensuring your team's work gets done right. So what I mean by that is once you have a strong knowledge base, that's approachable. People are starting to feel like they can answer their own questions, which who wouldn't love that? And then additionally, we start to see consistency go up because we have a well-maintained and great knowledge hub. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and transition into demoing and showing you a little bit about editing in terms of what that looks like before you actually complete the scribe. So I'll show you how to edit during the capture process, and then I'll pass it over to Maria to show you how to edit after you've captured. So I'm going to be demoing on the browser extension. So as you know, we have two different ways you can capture a scribe. We have that desktop app, which will capture anything within your computer screen. And then we have the browser extension, which I've pinned up here in the corner for easy access. I'm on Chrome right now, but the browser extension is going to capture anything web-based. So I'm sure we all know how to capture regularly by clicking that purple button. But something we just recently launched is this voice transcription feature. So maybe you're finding yourselves kind of doing a lot on the back end in terms of editing after you've captured. Maybe you're having to click into those little descriptions and add some more context. This can kind of help combat that. So essentially, I would compare it to voice typing a text message. So all you're going to do to use it is just click it on. If it's green, it means it's ready to go. And I'll just start the capture as normal. Now the trick is you're going to want to say what you want to include in the step before you click. So I'll show you how easy it is. Click the left-hand side Create button. Click on Event first. Add a long title, such as Book a Meeting. Click Save in the bottom right-hand corner. Great. So maybe this is going to be super helpful for you. We find a lot of people often feel like this is a great tool for them. Again, if you're having to go back and add a lot of detail, maybe you have something really specific you want to add, you could just kind of talk as you capture. So as you can see, those descriptions were added on top of the regular sidekick functionality. So a little bit about this toolbar here and some additional features that you may not know of. I do want to note that I've paused the capture right now. Sometimes people don't realize we have that. Essentially, if someone taps you on the shoulder mid-capture and they're saying, hey, can you actually help me with this right now? You can always click that pause button and then you can come back to it and pick up where you left off and click resume. So super easy. You wouldn't have to start from scratch. So something just to keep in the back of your mind. And then additionally, we often hear, oh, it's so great, Scribe captures every single click and interaction I do. However, we also hear at the same time, it captures every click I do. So maybe if I run into the issue of, I accidentally click something, I'm capturing maybe like over a 50-step scribe, it's kind of annoying to go on the back end, scroll where I misclicked and delete that. Now we've added this functionality in where you can actually delete a step mid-capture. So I'll show you, essentially, you'll just click this delete button on the trash can, super user-friendly. And then additionally, if you wanted to delete the scribe as a whole, you're more than welcome to just delete. The last thing I also want to note is we have our smart blur, which is available during this little tab here. So as you can see, I've clicked that on. This is one out of the 3 ways you can redact on our enterprise plans. So essentially, when you turn it on green, you can toggle these little settings on and off, and it will redact the information from your scribe. So this is nice on an individual basis if maybe you have something outside of those company-wide settings. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Maria to show you a little bit more in depth about how you can edit after capturing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison, for going over how to edit during a capturing process. But if you guys have attended one of our Scribe 101 webinars, then you probably know how to edit a scribe using some primary features. So whether that be adding a specific description, editing individual images, etc. But today we're going to be going over some specific things that we see time and time again across use cases across our different customers. So one of them is going to be branding. The second is how to make a scribe more digestible and how to organize maybe a longer scribe. And then the last thing that I'm going to be showcasing is how to prompt collaboration as you're editing. So the first thing I'm going to be showing is branding. And so you're probably wondering, if you have really strict brand guidelines, how do you make a scribe reflect that? So one thing you can do here is actually edit the logo once you go into a scribe. So if you click this, you can actually search the name of your company. So you can look at Google, and as you can see, we've changed that logo there. You can also pick an icon. So we have a lot of different colors here, and you can make it hand in hand with your specific brand guidelines. So I'm gonna click pink because I really love that color. Another thing that you can do is as you scroll down, you see these different click targets. You can actually change that color. So if you click over here on the right-hand side, click customization, you can actually change that color to, again, your brand guidelines. So maybe I want to do that same pink. Amazing. Awesome. Yeah, so those are kind of some small things regarding branding that we typically like to share for customers to make it a lot more personal for them. In terms of organizing a scribe or making it more digestible, I always have a couple of recommendations. One thing that I always like to highlight is the ability here to add headers. And this is really amazing for complex scribes that maybe have different sections. So for example, here I have how to add video conferencing to a Google Calendar event. I have one section regarding just adding video conferencing. And then I have another section that looks at adding a room. So here I'm going to put add video conferencing. And then on the second thing, I'm going to add rooms. And what that's going to do is once you click done editing, it'll actually create a table of contents for you on the left-hand side. So if you scroll down, after publishing this, you'll actually see that table of contents on the right-hand side. So if you click, say, add rooms, it'll take you specifically to that section. Awesome. Another thing that I like to showcase is, say that you are going into different branching steps. So a lot of our customers talk about how, for example, if you're remote, then you would have to branch off of a specific step. And then if you're in person, you might have to branch off of a different step. And so in that case, I like to point them to the idea of adding those headers. Another option you have here is maybe adding an alert. And within that alert, just put, if you're in person, go to step 2. If you're remote, go to step 3. So for me, step 2 is going to be add rooms. And so what I would do is I would actually grab the link from that add rooms. So copy link to step, and I would link it to step 2. And this way it shows that branching process. If you have specific processes where you find that, it's incredibly large, what we've seen customers actually do is create a page with multiple different scribes. And we'll show you that a little bit later and also in a future Scribe Spotlight session. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh, this scribe is still incredibly long, then you can actually merge specific steps. So What you can do is look at specific steps that you think, oh, these are really similar. I want to merge them together. So you would click here on the upper left-hand side and click which steps you want to combine. Once you've clicked those specific steps, you can actually click this button right here to combine those steps. And as you can see, it's combined that text description. And here, it's created a GIF of the two different step images here. And that just makes your entire thing a little bit cleaner and a little bit easier to follow and read. Another option you have is actually to use our magic merge functionality. So what this does is instead of you manually clicking which steps you want to combine, if say you have a really long scribe and you're thinking, I really don't know like which steps to combine, what this will do is it will actually prompt AI to look through your entire scribe, see which scribes are similar or maybe there are repeating steps, and figure out how to merge specific steps together. So I'm going to click merge here. And if we scroll down, as you can see, it's merged a couple steps together. So those are a couple of ways to kind of utilize these editing features to your advantage and make sure that your scribe is as digestible as possible. One thing I do want to note here is, as you can see, we have this unpublished changes button. So this or this unpublished changes flag. So this means that you are in the draft published state. And in order to make these changes live for the end user, you would have to click publish. So I'm going to edit this version name and say, 10:16 a.m. Aug 6. Publish this version. And what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that this is visible for every person to see, whoever you're going to send this link to. Say I'm scrolling and I'm thinking, oh, I actually really don't like this specific merge right here. What I can do is actually go over to version history and look at all of the different versions I have. So for folks who are on our base plan, you have up to 6 months of version history. And if you're looking for something for a longer paper trail, then we would recommend looking further into our core tier, which includes over a year of version history. So I'm looking here and I see that 10:16 a.m. Aug 6 version. If I want to go here, and look at like ones where maybe they're not merged together and I want to restore that version, I can actually do that. So I'm going to click restore, and as you can see, it's unmerged, and I'm going to go ahead and republish this. I'm going to put 10:18, publish this version. Awesome. So once you have that set up, the last thing I did want to showcase was how to prompt collaboration within editing. Say I've just finished editing this first version of the scribe and I'm thinking, oh, I would love to get Allison's feedback on this. I would just simply hover over a specific step here and click this comment bubble. I'm going to tag Allison. And I'm going to say, would love your feedback, would love feedback. What this is going to do is it's actually going to send Allison an email saying that I've tagged her in a comment. And so it'll prompt her to look at this scribe specifically and maybe make those edits, make those changes that she would recommend. If you're sending this to multiple people and you really want to track those different comments or conversations that you have, you can go here on the upper right-hand side and click show comments. And as you can see, it'll show me which ones are active. And if say I've resolved this because Allison maybe messaged me or already looked at the specific scribe, I can resolve this and it'll actually transfer over to the resolved section. Awesome. So once you're done editing your scribe and you've kind of played around a little bit with different scribes, making whatever else for your teams, and you're thinking, wow, this is a lot of different scribes, how do I store them? One thing that we like to really showcase is our our pages feature. So I'm going to showcase this really quick one right here, made by one of our customers, and they've created a help center out of a page. So we like to say if a scribe is a recipe, then a page is a cookbook. And so again, you can really section off your different scribes depending on that topic. And we'll actually go more into depth about pages in one of our scribe sessions later in the month. And on that note, before I close it off and open it up to different questions, I just quickly want to share, the future info sessions that we have. So today was our first one, Edit Like a Pro, focused on editing. The second one is going to be next week on Wednesday again, focused on sharing. On August 20th, we have it focused on collaboration. And finally, August 27th, we have it focused on pages. These are going to be super short and again, focused on making sure that you guys have the right resources that you need to be as successful as you can with Scribe. But with that said, would love to open it up to any other questions. I see that you guys have been asking a lot via the chat. So I'll pause it here to see if you guys have any questions relating on editing, if there's anything else we can help with.
And also feel free to test it out while you're on the call now, and we'll stick around for a few minutes. I see someone just said, is this session recorded for future reference? Yes, we will send you a follow-up email with the link so you can refer to it at a later time. But yeah, feel free to test it out right now while we're here, and feel free to comment and get any help while we're here. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of all of the opportunities you have with editing functionality with Scribe.
Awesome.
Looks like we have one question in the chat. Deborah says, when I convert a scribe to a PDF, it changes the logo that is shown. Could we try converting the scribe to the PDF?
Yes. Let me quickly reshare my screen and try that out. Share. Let's see that right now. Export PDF. Oh, Deborah, were you meaning this right here? On the right hand side?
Yeah, that logo in the right-hand corner, it looks like.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Meg, if you can jump in here, I'm not sure in terms of like the logo specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. So the logo in that right-hand corner when you export to a PDF is based off of whatever logo you've set in the team settings in Scribe. So each Scribe team or workspace can have a separate logo. Most people, this is just like their company logo. But that's what's automatically going to pull in here. With the link though, it's really nice because you get your company logo in the top left-hand corner, but you also get that like application logo for the Scribe. So that's a huge plus.
Yes, but great question.
And then Maria, I think maybe if you could keep that up potentially of that prior Scribe. It looks like Zach dropped a question in the Q&A. He said, when I'm making some crop edits to screenshots, the published version is very zoomed out. How can I save the zoom I want for a screenshot?
Great question. Do you mean, are you cropping directly within the image, Zach?
He said yes.
Okay. Let's see. So we try cropping it. to maybe here, and then click done. Let's see. So is this kind of something similar that you're seeing where there's a little bit of white space on the side here? Gotcha. So something you can do is actually click this zoom in button, and that'll allow you to focus on something specific here. So if, for example, you really want to showcase like, this section, you can do that. But yeah, right now there isn't a way where you can keep this specific like size if you are you are cropping it within that edit image button, if that makes sense. So you can zoom in directly on that scribe.
Yeah. The other thing I would add is like your audience, when you send a link to someone, is also going to be able to zoom in and out. So, okay, not consistent. Yeah, the best practice is like Maria said, just like crop the image to your set view, pan it over to like what you want the main focal point to be. And then just know that your audience will be able to zoom in or out as they need as well.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. We have a couple more minutes and would love to answer any other questions that come your guys' way. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. And if there are no other questions, we're going to go ahead and close it out. But always feel free to reach out to us over email at success@scribehow.com. We're also going to be sharing a couple of other resources to you all after this webinar. But before you guys go, we do have a quick survey for you guys to fill out if you can once we stop this webinar. So that would just be really great in terms of feedback. And so we know what to cover in the next Scribe Spotlight. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining. Have a great rest of your day.